Mario Kart, Pokémon Snap, and Crystal Chronicles all walk into a bar. What? Is this some sort of joke to you? Well, have you know that spin-off games, they are no joke. In fact, some of my favourite games from some of my favourite series like Mario, Pokemon, and Final Fantasy, well, they would have to be spin-off games. Which is why today I'm really pumped to talk about spin-off games that are in the Pokemon series because, well, quite frankly, I love the Pokemon series and I love the spin-off games, some of them that come along with it. I figured today would be the perfect opportunity for us to talk about this, considering, well, there's a direct in just under a week's time, which is kind of weird because normally we get like 2 days notice and it's just all hands on deck, battle stations go, is somebody manning the speculation deck? Now we're all just sitting back going, woo, twiddly-dee, what do we do now? I don't know, talk about spin-offs. Hey, that's what I'm doing. On top of that, we just had a Pokemon press conference, which was interesting? I don't know. It was a little bit strange. Some of it kind of felt like an April Fool's joke where they just never delivered the punchline. And I'm still wondering, like, whether they're just going to come out tomorrow and say, April Fools, food. I mean, you guys know me, I'm all about the entertainment, but when it comes to entertaining people while they sleep, I don't know, it just kind of feels like Greg from marketing came in with a knife. Why don't we entertain people while they sleep? And everyone's like, whoa, Greg, okay, we'll do something. We can hardly talk about the spin-off games that could be coming to Switch without first talking about the spin-off games that are already on the platform, and there is a couple of them there. First of all, there's Pokémon Quest. To be honest, this is a little bit of just a mindless tapping game where there's not a huge amount of interaction. However, I still enjoyed the game. I didn't really mind it for what it was, and I kind of liked the art style. I don't know, something about the boxes or cubes. I'm a little bit square myself, so maybe that did it for me. Plus, the free-to-play aspects of the game weren't too intrusive. They didn't feel like they were getting their claws out, digging them into my wallet, and scraping every last penny they could out of it. They even had a cap on there to say you can only spend this much in the game before you... That's it, that's all the money you can spend. And for a free-to-play game, that's kind of... amazing. Don't get me wrong, it's not the type of game that's just going to blow those socks right off your feet, but it isn't too bad. It's worth stepping into if maybe you like want to just try something for free, like a free demo of a game, because this is a lot there for free. It's okay. Maybe just try Pokemon Quest. Let's move on. Next up, we have Pokkén Tournament. Now, I've also played a little bit of this one, not a huge amount, but it was a good game. It was a decent fighter. However, it could never really live up to my expectations, simply because I kind of want every single Pokemon to be in there, to be honest. I know that's selfish and I know that's impossible, but part of me is just like, I wish I could just battle every single Pokemon. Like, if you were my child, when I was a child, that was basically my dream, to just be able to battle Pokemon in the full 3D and just go at it instead of like just having a couple of sprites going... Whatever's going on is something, but I mean, this is doing it for an 8-year-old, but it's... So while this type of game did allow me to punch another Pokemon in the face with Machamp, it didn't punch me in the face and knock me out. It kind of just, I don't know, gave me a little tap on the cheek and said, oh, this is okay, Eric. I should also mention that I'm just not the biggest fighting fan in the first place, so the fact that this did give me a tap on the cheek is kind of, I don't know, hats off to this. So what spin-off games could we see then? Well, surprisingly, there is a huge library of spin-off games that we could possibly see come over. Pokemon have done a lot of spin-off games. However, I think there's some ones that are really likely to come here in the first place. And in fact, one that we've already seen because of this. You see, the 3DS is, well, if it's not on the way out, it's basically gone. And what that basically means is these games that were being made on the 3DS, well, they've got to go somewhere. Now, some of them, admittedly, have already gone to mobile, and hopefully there's no more that are going to be going to mobile, but there are some of them there that just work better on console. Well, I mean, every game works better on console in my opinion, but there's some of them that I feel like they wouldn't want to take away from that console experience. The first one up here is one that we actually know is coming, and that's Detective Pikachu, because, well, at the press conference that they just had, they announced Detective Pikachu 2. Detective Pikachu 2. We really don't know how far away this game is going to be, considering they haven't even showed anything? Like, not even a logo. They don't even have a logo yet. Metroid Prime 4, when it was originally shown with a logo, was further along in development than this was. Presumably. We don't actually know. So it could be a while before this game does actually reach the platform. However, that's not going to stop them from porting the original one as well while they're at it. And considering how well this movie actually did in the box office, I wouldn't be surprised if they want to milk this cow Pokemon. What's a cow Pokemon? I don't know, you get it. For all it's worth. Miltank. Miltank was a cow Pokemon. Oh, and it used Rollout. That was just the worst, wasn't it? Rollout. Roadhouse. If you haven't played the original Detective Pikachu, they're actually quite a fun game. They're like a detective game. That's the easiest way to sum them up. Not in the like Professor Layton type of way, because Professor Layton is much more like condensed puzzles, single solving one at a time. This is much more like an overarching story and a detective story. Overarching. This next one here, I'm just kind of surprised they didn't just shove out the door during the press conference. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is a 3DS game, it's a long-running series, and I'm sure that they're going to do another one in this series, so it would only make sense considering everything that I just mentioned, that it's going to come to Switch at some point. I guess it's just quite possible there's already plenty on the Pokemon platter for this year, and they just don't have room to squeeze this game in between. There's giant Pokemon stomachs. Is there a stomach Pokemon yet? And so they decided that the Pokemon attention might as well go to Sword and Shield and not Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series because, well, quite frankly, I haven't played them. I've played plenty of Mystery Dungeon games in the past, but not Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I do love me a good Mystery Dungeon game, though, because the gameplay is kind of like a mix between a tactics game and I guess a turn-based game, because you are technically taking turns, and every time you move, the enemy moves. Every time you use an item, every time you use an attack, it's just turn for turn that way. But it feels much more flowish. That's not a word. Much more fast-paced, because there's never like a break between what's going on. It's just kind of action, 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 action. Wait. Action. The last interesting thing to note about this is that it always gets a physical game. So if it came over to Switch, would they go physical, or would they throw that back and say, nah, this is a digital only game now? I could see them going either way, to be honest.
Today's assignment, photograph the elusive Pokemon.
Oh, talk about a tasty little cookie to crack open here. Pokemon Snap is the next nostalgia biscuit that I'll be munching on. Now, it's hard to tell whether it was the camera or whether it was the fact that we could just shove our face into a bird's bottom that got the flames of excitement burning for us Pokemon fans. But one thing's for sure, those flames of excitement are now about the status of, I don't know, Charmander's flame in that anime episode where he almost died. As soon as we actually got to see Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild in virtual reality, we all just kind of went, okay, that kind of looks like poo. Like literal poo, like I'm wiping poo over my retinas. Our dreams may have been smeared in poo that day, but that doesn't mean that it has to go away. I still believe that Pokemon Snap can come back as just a normal mainline game. In fact, I hope it does. It's actually a really creative series, the way they use just taking photos and getting a score, and then adding puzzle solving aspects on top of that, like just throwing these apples and using them to make different stuff happen, like you throw it at a Pikachu who makes a thunderbolt happen and shocks the water and kills a Magikarp, and the Magikarp flows over the waterfall, which lands on a Mankey's head who gets angry, punches a Meowth in the face, and Meowth then makes it rain, and then one of the Pokemon like Chansey chokes on the coin and gets rushed to hospital. You take a photo of the Chansey almost dying, you get 100 points. Of course, that's not actually what happened, but there is still a lot of potential here that I do hope they draw out of this series, because it just has it there. In fact, if they really want to find the potential, take us off the rails. The last game just had you riding along a track to take these certain photos, which was all fun and all, but maybe just throw us in an area, give us a time limit to run around and get the best photos that we can. If you really want to go wild, throw us in the wild, Breath of the Wild, and give us the camera and Pokemon, and yeah, I'm asking too much. Okay, let's move on.
That, for the first time ever, battle in 3D.
Sticking with the theme of Nintendo 64 games here, let's move on to Pokémon Stadium. Now this is a weird one, because to be perfectly honest, this ain't coming back. At least not in the same way that it was, because, well, the features of the game, the main selling feature, was the fact that you could finally battle Pokemon in 3D! And now it just kind of seems like a hard sell, charging full price for a bunch of trainer battles in a row, but there were a couple of other things in here that I think I would like them to salvage out of it. It's not a dead series, they just need to pull the right parts out. In other words, the mini-games. I mean, any real fan of the series probably spent 90% of their time doing the mini-games. They were just a lot of fun for what they were, even though there wasn't a huge roster of them. It almost just makes me want like a Mario Party Pokemon style. Pokemon Stadium Party. I don't know. Throwing stuff at the wall here, we'll see what sticks. One of the other selling points that just wouldn't have any use now was this thing called a transfer pack.
The ultimate Pokemon trainer. You can upload your Game Boy Pokemon onto your N64.
So what this was, is that in case your N64 controller with the 3 prongs wasn't awkward enough, you now had this pack that you would just go and plug into the back of it and make it look even more awkward. The bonus was that you actually got to play your Game Boy Pokemon games on the big screen by just simply plugging them in the back here. So if by chance we did see this come back, it would have to be some sort of different form of what it was. It wouldn't just be the same. Maybe it could be cheaper, maybe it would just be the mini games. Who knows? That's up to Pokemon, not me. I wish it was up to me. That would be great. Now, I wanted to put Pokemon Puzzle League on the list here, which is kind of like your Paddle the Pond, your Tetris Attack type of game, because I just enjoy these type of games, and I see a kind of opportunity here for Nintendo. We know that they've already gone the lines of like a Tetris 99 online style, where if you have online, you've got to play Tetris 99's online mode now for free. But I could see them doing something similar with this game here. And I think what they could do to make this a little bit special is a little bit what they're doing with, like, I think there's that Pokemon Masters game, or even like just some of the Tetris games like Puyo Puyo Tetris that are out already, where they have like different characters for you to pick from. We've got a huge range of characters now over the years of Pokemon. Shove them in a game like this, have them unlockable, have you work your way up to them. I think that would be kind of cool.
Well, there's no time to explain everything.
Now, there's definitely some more games here that I'd love to talk about, like Pokemon Rumble. I'd love to talk about that, but that's already gone down free-to-play road, and we all know what lays at the end of free-to-play road. It's a giant octopus that just sucks the life out of any game that goes down there, and all that's left is an empty husk that just makes me sad. Just makes me sad. And then there's that already mobile game, Magic Card Jump, which I put on the thumbnail, so I feel like I have to mention, but I don't really have anything to say, otherwise make a sequel for Switch that's actually good. I don't know. The real question here is not me just blabbing on about more Pokemon games, it's your opinion. What would you like to see? There are certainly more Pokemon spin-offs that I didn't talk about because I'm not talking about them all. What would you like to see? Pokemon trading card game, maybe Pokemon Pinball, something like that, come back and make its blitzy return. I think that would be really cool. Or maybe even just a new spin-off game. That's certainly not out of the realms of possibility. I'm sure they do want to try new stuff, so maybe new spin-offs that aren't their mobile stuff come to a console. That might be cool. And hey you, Pikachu, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, be much appreciated. And remember, for great Nintendo entertainment, you can count on me. For today's end screen, I just want to say that it's been a rough personal life week, which is why there's been no content for a week, but there's going to be more content coming out from now on. So really sorry about that. If you've been wondering where I am and just been like, where's Eric gone? He just hasn't posted anything for a week, even though he's normally posting all the time. That's the reason why. Stuff that I'm not going to get into now, but it's stuff. It's bad shizer stuff that's happened, and it's over now. We're back on track. More videos coming. Goodbye.